So again, as I was saying, um, four elements of hip hop that we commonly refer to, and that's emceeing, breakdancing, um, obviously DJing and graffiti. Now, they call the fifth element knowledge of self, and that is obviously influenced by the 5% Nation and many other um, schools of thought. But I think the element that constantly gets ignored when we talk about hip hop is beatboxing. And I've kind of talked about the others. You kind of get the other, but beatboxing is one of those unique um, parts of the elements of hip hop when we talk about it. Call it you know it's like a band with your mouth. It's like vocal percussion. I think many people have called it. So, made famous by Biz Markie or the human beatbox Robinson from I think it was the Fat Boys, and obviously Dougie Fresh. Really made it famous in the '80s, and then although the art kind of faded away throughout the '90s and in the early 2000s. I think Rizal from the Roots is really one that kind of kept beatboxing alive. So, shout out to beatboxing. Really, it is such a creative skill um, to make multiple sounds simultaneously or at the same time. That when you hear entry level beatboxers, they just like make a beat essentially. But these elite boxers like Biz Markie or Dougie Fresh or Rizal, they literally make an entire song. Like I still remember hearing Rizal for the first time at a Root show, and he was doing Wu-Tang tracks with all the background sounds via beatbox. And it was like one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen. So yeah, again, hats off to beatboxing. Again, those, we tie that in with breaking, and we know the legendary story of breaking, and it's a combination of so many different things. Brazilian dance. You think of there's an element of martial arts. You feel Michael Jackson or James Brown or even a little Prince-ish in when you see breaking. We know the movie Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo are some of the amazing, you know, movies that are out there. You can't forget Wild Style or Beat Street. So that is an element, that is that lives today. And I know that other forms of dance have spawned from breaking, but that is one of the things that is truly feels totally um in the heart of New York. Rock City Crew really did it big, and then did that in the early days. So obviously between Black and Asian, and it's still huge right now in Asia, and obviously the Latino culture is definitely totally heavily ingrained when we talk about b-boys and b-girls, and that's this dynamic style of dancing. So those are the elements. And I know I had Elda Sensei on not too long ago, and his partner Tame One was an infamous grapher in the New Jersey area. There's so many people that have done it over the years, and actually artifacts truly actually rhymed about them doing their graffiti art. And we see it all over the world and the city. And I think some of this amazing art has really transcended in you know making street art. My wife does street art, and many other people throughout the world do amazing murals, or pictures, or just bring energy and life to otherwise would be a blank canvas or a blank wall. And it's amazing what graffiti and that element is truly meant to the culture of hip hop. But I think as we've evolved and really look at it, I think the the element that, I really think as we move forward, and again, we've talked about before that the this is hip hop appreciation month. We just are passing through the birth of hip hop and it being 48 years old, as I said earlier. But I think the element that needs to be added now is producing and hit making, because that is what has allowed hip hop to grow and blossom to what it is. Whether you think about the early days with Curtis Blow, and then you fast forward into some of the things that we've heard in the 90s, with Pete Rock and RZA and Primo and Jay Dilla and obviously Dr. Dre, coming up with an incredible sound that's still relevant 25 years later. Some of the amazing things that we've heard from, Ninth Wonder and now we're hearing, obviously, Kanye has a major influence how he's grown a career from just being a producer into now, the richest artist or hip hop artist that we have on the planet, worth billions of dollars. And then we have like our underground favorites, like everyone in DITC, or we think of beat miners from Boot Camp Click, et cetera, et cetera. There's just so many, but it's such a craft and such an element to come up and create. Think about what Missy and Timbo and obviously the Neptunes and so many others have created over time, and some of the most memorable music is because of the production that has been put out there. So really think about that element is needing to be one that is included now. And then again, I think between you think of hip hop, the effect and people able to express themselves. I think the opportunity to to talk about so many social issues that truly get through to today's youth is really been piggybacked on a piece that people truly listen to in today's youth and over the youth over the last 25-30 years, and that has been hip hop, whether we're talking about police violence or we're talking about um supporting women, or the need to help give our kids an education, or just things that are out there. It's been amazing, and now you see that now how hip hop is now being magnified and being used for literally everything. You can't turn a commercial on and there's not an endorsement about hip hop and product placement and so many other things. Like look at how Dre grew his business and his net worth through headphones. Beat by Dre, he partnered and obviously that is transcended into millions upon millions of dollars that has led. And then hip hop is beyond the elements, is the impact that it's made on fashion. You think of guys like Dapper Dan that were making suits for EPMD, and definitely Rakim and Eric B. If you go back to Follow the Leader cover, they have a custom made like Gucci suit that he had made them. Think of um, Ghostface and his love for wallabies, and even I talked about it on a previous episode where we talked about the 26th anniversary of Cuban Links. He talks about dyeing his wallabies to be blue and cream and to be totally different than anyone else has out there. So I think the fashion piece, and it continues to grow. We look at so many artists that are ingrained in fashion. Think of the days of Rockaware and how it got artists to wear G Unit sneakers and Sean Carter's, like these sneakers back in the mid 2000s, like sold out the day that they hit stores. And now we have some of the most popular sneakers fast forward to today. We just recently had a Travis Scott launch, and we got a low that is also hit and sold out immediately. Shoes now worth like $2,000. So um, totally impactful now what we're doing. Like one of the hottest sneakers for the last 5 years has been the Yeezy Boost collection, but it's because Kanye's been wearing it and Kanye's been so influential. So there is so many different things that are out there, from a sneaker and a fashion perspective, of why how hip hop is making its mark and making its values. So um, it is continuing to grow. It's continuing to hopefully deal with many of the stereotypes that are out there. And although it still has some flaws that from the 90s that were not accepted, I think as we move forward, where we start to be more accepting of people of all walks of life, whether it's based on sex or age or race or social status. I think hip hop is one of those amazing cultures that we have, and to have 48 years, just imagine what it's going to look like after, when it hits 50, and the celebration that we all should be having. It's truly amazing, and just we all should be grateful. Me personally, I don't know what I would be like, or what my life would have looked like if I did not have hip hop as part of my life. It's been a part of my life since I was literally 12 years old, when I first heard Radio by LL Cool J. And for myself, you can see if you're watching on Zoom, there's still, like, I can't even get rid of my CD collection. It's probably about 1,000 deep still, of the classics, and I still play some of these. I just like the CD feel sometimes and play it in the car, but I do play most of my music digitally now. But the songs and the times where I heard songs truly um is um is really impacted me, and helped shape the person that I am and have become. Like, my wife and I, um we got to know each other because of hip hop. We talked about, it was in a group discussion, and we were talking about favorite artists, and I didn't know she even loved hip hop. And she told the group who her favorite artist was, and I could resonate because I was a fan of the artist, the artist, and that's Mos Def. And that blossomed into countless conversations about music and artists and what do we like and that sort of thing. It's actually, this is being recorded on Friday the 13th, and my wife and I were at our first concert together, but we had no idea who one another were. And that was the Get On Up concert, at Polson Pier, put on by Mark Echo. And we had some local artists, Julie Black and Cardinal Official, and obviously Canadian. We had the Rascals, but at the same time, the headliners were Nas and Fat Joe, and trying to think who else was there. Fat Joe, and obviously Busta Rhymes was there on the first day, and then we had Little John, Kanye, and Ludacris on the second day. So totally amazing how your life becomes full circle, and how an element or a genre of music changed my life, and now has led to who I ultimately became connected to and ultimately decided to marry. And for that, I'm truly grateful. And my wife and I have a young daughter, and not saying that she's going to be forced to listen to hip hop, but she's grown up on listening to hip hop and many other genres of music. So for that, hip hop, happy birthday! It's 48 years. Look forward to hip hop appreciation month later in our hip hop history month. This is hip hop appreciation month, but hip hop history month is later in the year. And it will be very exciting to see that this hip hop museum that gets built in the next couple of years, and hopefully it's ready for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. But thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully you learned a piece or two, and I know I covered a lot in a very short period of time, but hip hop is such an important piece. Again, shout out to my boy Beto Arts. You're seeing wearing an Illmatic Beto original. He does amazing artwork, all surrounding music, predominantly hip hop. He's a hip hop fan just like myself. So for those, thanks for listening. Much appreciated, and we will definitely talk to you on the flip side.